Today we're diving into the world of photography, looking at the differences between film photography and digital photography. Which one is better? Which one is right for you? Which one will make you a better photographer? Or should you try both? Most of us probably stick to one over the other, but ultimately I do think we can learn so much from both forms. Let's jump in. What's cracking, my photography friends? Hope you're all doing really well. In this one, we're going to explore both the pros and cons of both film and digital photography, as well as looking at some reasons why perhaps you should try both. Personally, I've shot far more digital over the years. This was certainly where I started, and I still use this format most. But over the past few years, I have made a real conscious effort to shoot more film, and I've certainly found both to have real benefits for my photography. Shooting more film recently, I found this a really great way to challenge myself and put me outside my comfort zone. It's also a really great way to slow down your photography. But let's start where it all began for me, with a few benefits from shooting digital. Of course, with digital cameras, you have the luxury of instant feedback. You can capture a shot, review it straight away, and then make any adjustments if you need to. Essentially, you can experiment and learn a lot faster, especially when you are getting started. Having that instant feedback is extremely valuable. Compare this to film. When you take a photo, by the time you go and look at it, get it developed, you might not really know what mistakes you made or what to improve on for next time. It is a much slower learning process, especially when getting started. So this is a huge advantage for digital, and why I recommend, regardless of what you're more interested in, it is probably a good place to start. As digital cameras keep on getting better and better, they also offer far more options compared to film cameras in terms of things like the autofocus and even the low light capabilities. You can shoot clean, noise-free images in conditions that would be just very challenging for film. Autofocus technology now is also incredibly advanced, making it super easy to track your subjects and find focus. The flexibility of digital files also shines, especially when it comes to editing, giving you extreme power when it comes to processing your images in software like Adobe's Lightroom, especially when shooting raw files. Digital storage also means no more counting your exposures. You can snap away without worrying if you're going to run out of film. So this is far more suited to things like events, wildlife, or any fast-paced scenarios. It's also a bit more friendly on your bank account, not having to constantly buy and develop film if you're firing through shots. Again, this is why in some situations, especially when you are learning, being able to retake images over and over, digital photography really does make sense, and this is why it is a great place to start. Of course, it's not all sunshine and roses on digital, so let's look at some of the downsides. The first one is just the overwhelming options. The sheer number of settings and features in digital cameras can make it a little bit overwhelming, especially when you're new to the process. Also, to get the most out of your digital photos, it's definitely worthwhile spending a bit of time editing them. And that's something not everybody wants to do. Unlike film, digital files are all stored electronically, which can be really handy, but it can also take away some of that personal and tangible feel. Although you can get incredible image quality on digital cameras, a lot of people still prefer the overall aesthetic and image quality that you get on film. I'm still blown away when I see larger format film. It just has an incredible look to it. So film really does have this unique look that can be quite hard to replicate on digital. That leads us right into the charms of film photography. The difference, of course, is that film cameras in comparison use light sensitive film, which you load into the camera to capture images. When finished, they are then developed and scanned. So here are some of the key advantages and disadvantages from using film. If you haven't shot any film before, you might find this section a little bit lame, but shooting film really does have this tactile feel to it, and it's definitely more of a sensory delight. From loading film to advancing frames, each step is almost a ritual that connects you to the images that you are capturing. Plus, with film, you get your negatives, you can get your prints, which can be quite satisfying and give it more of a personal feel. Film really does have quite a unique nostalgic look that a lot of photographers do love. The grain, colors, and even imperfections can add a lot of character to your images. So much so, we often see people trying to emulate these looks digitally, sometimes not in the most flattering way, possessing a really unique quality that is often described as timeless. One thing you'll find from shooting film is it really does encourage a more thoughtful and deliberate approach, from the limited number of shots on a roll to sometimes the limited settings. For me, this is one reason I love shooting film so much. You'll find yourself really slowing down and giving intention to the entire process, considering things like composition and exposure more, which can greatly enhance your skills. Unlike digital photography, which as mentioned will be far more suited when you're starting out because of that instant feedback, I think because of the slightly more restrictive nature from film photography, it's more suited to really hone in and refine your skills once you've got the basics down. If you have shot film before, you're probably very familiar with this feeling. There's something special about just waiting for your photos to get developed. The anticipation whether your photos will even turn out at all really just adds to the suspense. You might even find some gems that you don't even remember taking. Of course, there are a few downsides to film as well, so let's take a look at them. Cost is perhaps the main reason for most people. Although you can pick up gear potentially a little bit cheaper, the cost of film and processing can be quite expensive, especially with films going up and up and up. This is why for me that I use it more of a special occasion type thing, which overall adds to the feeling to me. If you do want to shoot a lot of film, there are ways you can gradually reduce the cost in the long term, like scanning at home yourself, although it will involve some setup costs. Secondly, it can also be quite time consuming. Scanning and developing can take time. You might have to go somewhere to do it. You might have to wait until you get back from holiday. So this can be a downside to film as well. Lastly, overall, you just have less control when you're shooting film. Digital cameras give you far more options and features, just giving you a little bit more creative freedom. Of course, this isn't always a good thing. Sometimes creative constraints can actually help with creativity and really help you hone in on particular skills. So it just depends what you're trying to achieve. Now, before we wrap up, let's look at why you may want to consider a little dabble in both film and digital photography. For all the reasons discussed, I really do believe using both mediums is a great way to really round out your overall skill sets, using digital to really allow for experimentation and a lot of different techniques, using film to practice more on your precision and patience. As both mediums are so different, using both is a really great way to expand your creative horizons and look for new ways to express yourself, finding new inspiration and new learning opportunities. As different situations call for different tools, having both a film and digital camera at hand to tackle any photographic challenge can really help you achieve a desired look and outcome. And there you have it, film versus digital. I'm sure this debate is going to be an ongoing one, so let me know your thoughts down in the comments. To me, there's no reason to pick sides, both offering really unique advantages. So don't limit yourself, embrace the best of both worlds. All right, thanks so much for watching. Please do subscribe for all things photography. I'll catch you in the next one. Keep on creating and keep on growing, my friends. Bye for now.